This is the second episode of the Fireside Chats, and our episode is titled When Women Lead, Communities Rise. The purpose of these chats is to connect youth with inspirational members of the FEZANA community. My name is Diana Mistry. I'm 15 years old and I live in California. I'm a member of the Zinc community.
Hi, I'm Katy Daruwala. I'm 15 years old and I'm a member of the ZAMC here in Chicago.
Hi everyone, I'm so happy to see you all here today. My name is Artina and I am one of the moderators for today's panel alongside Katy and Diana. I'm 16 years old and I attend ZANT, the Zoroastrian Association of North Texas. And the three of us have been looking forward to this conversation for a long time, trust me. At its core, this project is about one simple question. How do we honor the woman who built our community while also learning how we step into leadership ourselves? Not someday, but now. And with that, it's genuinely an honor to introduce the woman on call with us today. First, we have Dolly Dastoor. And honestly, where do I even begin? Dolly has served FEZANA as president of the Zoroastrian Association of Quebec, and has chaired the FEZANA academic scholarship community for over 2 decades. She's been the editor-in-chief of the FEZANA Journal since 2006, helped lead world congresses, and has represented our community on some of the biggest interfaith stages in the world. But beyond that, Dolly is someone who has consistently asked, how do we do more for our people? Next, we have Katayun Kapadia. Katayun has quite literally done it all. She served FEZANA as president, treasurer, secretary, and vice president, led associations across countries, helped build community in the US, France, and beyond, and continues to be one of the strongest advocates for youth leadership that I have ever seen. And finally, we have Roshan Rivetna. Roshan is someone whose work has shaped how we understand ourselves as a community. From stewarding the FEZANA Journal for years to authoring some of the most influential writings on Zoroastrian history and demographics, to build spaces that bring people together through culture and faith. And on top of all of that, she pursued a career in nuclear physics. Truly iconic. Now, we chose Dolly, Katayun, and Roshan very intentionally because they didn't just inherit strong systems, they created them. They led when there were no templates, no handbooks, and often no guarantee that people would even show up. As youth, we grew up with FEZANA, ZINA, scholarships, journals, and congresses already in place. But those didn't just appear. They exist because women like them believed our community was worth fighting for. So we want to start where it all began, before leadership titles, before committees, before FEZANA even looked like FEZANA. We've asked each of our panelists to share their origin story, where they grew up, what Zoroastrian meant to them growing up, and how their journey eventually led them to the United States. Because leadership doesn't just start with a position. It starts with a story. So with that, please go ahead and share your background. Tell us about your childhood, where you grew up, what your education was like, and take us through your journey up until you arrived in the United States.
You are Tina. So I'm Katayun Kapadia, and I grew up in Mumbai, India, in a conservative Parsi family, and it was in Matunga outside Dadar. And I attended the J.B. Vacha High School, which I'm sure many of you on this call have attended. It's my alma mater, and it is the first ranking school in Maharashtra, even today, after 100 years of being there. So in my family, it was my dad, Sam, my mom, Franny, my brother, Raslam, and myself. And my dad was very strict when I was growing up. And what as a Parsi in Bombay, what did we do? Well, he was in the railways, and we visited on Sundays my grandmother in Slater Road, in Station Terrace, where my other uncles were also there. And it was a nice growing up in a Parsi family, and also the J.B. Vacha High School, where we had excellent teachers. Those of you who were there when I was there, with principals Perin Nagarwala and Ratan Bana, and it was an exciting time for me. I was involved in the Girl Scouts there, the Girl Guides also, and I was also active in the North Bombay JC's chapter, where I did the leadership development for them. I was lucky enough to be selected by the Girl Scouts to attend the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts in Mumbai, in Kyoto. No, it was in Osaka, Japan in 1970. And it was a wonderful experience for me to go there. There were two other ladies with me, and that was then. In my junior year, my dad passed away, and I just completed my BCom, got a good percentage. So everybody said, why don't you go and do your chartered accountancy? So my cousin took me to a Maharashtrian professor, Mr. Khare, and he told me, if you want to become a chartered accountant, you have to make it a career. Do not get married. I mean, if you get married, then give it up. Don't do it. It was very strict at that time. And I know when I did my chartered, only 5% of the women and the participants passed that exam. So it was an all-male firm. Even the peons and the secretary was male. All Maharashtrians. I'm the only Parsi and a lady. They call me Babi, but I had a great amount of respect. And the last 6 months, I worked in Bombay House with the Tatas, which was another very good experience of those who have worked with the Tatas. So that's how it is. And then I was 28, active in the JCs and also in the Girl Scouts. And I got married to Kirsty, and I came here to the United States. Now, this is very interesting for the younger generation. Let me see if you can beat my record. Kirsty and I corresponded from September through April. He came to Bombay on May 5th. He proposed on the 14th. We got married on the 27th of May, and he was back in the US on June 5th. And we were happily married for 34 years till he passed away. So I come into the US, and I came on Pan Am, and it was the round terminal in JFK, which I landed. And I came, and it was August. So the first time it was Navroz coming up, Pateti function. I went to the function with Kirsty, and as I walked in, I saw a school friend there, Mistry. And there it was, JBB was right there with me even then. And Zapanch was looking afterwards for a treasurer. And that's how I got into the Zoroastrian community in the US. And I think I'll stop there right now and let the next person take over. I think it is Roshan who will go after me. Go ahead, Roshan. Roshan, you are on mute.
Hello, everybody. My early story starts with my living in Gwalior Tank Road, Bombay, at my Bapaji's house with lots of older family. I was the only child, and I gave very little thought to being a Parsi. I just grew up a Parsi. All my friends were Parsis. I went to Parsi school. I didn't think, here now we come and say, are we Parsi? Are we Zoroastrian? Are we American? Are we Indian? What is my... But I was just a pure, plain, simple Parsi. I went to Adi Marazban Nataks. I went to Parsi Dairy Farm to get kulfi. I enjoyed all the hospitals, libraries, everything was Parsi. I was very proud to be a Parsi. I went to Queen Mary High School, and then I went to Elphinstone College and Royal Institute of Science. My passion in the early days was to be at the forefront of science. So I picked going into the area of nuclear physics. And I worked at Royal Institute of Science, and then I went to Pittsburgh and got a master's in nuclear physics. I was the only girl in physics, but I really didn't feel at all, I wasn't treated specially. There was nothing against me. I really felt just one of the class. And then after nuclear physics degree, I went back to Bombay. And then I was working at at the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research at the time. And Katayun, I'm going to tell my wedding story, which beats you by a few months. So one day, Rohinton's whole family came over to have tea at our house, at my Mamaji's house, and meet all our family. Rohinton's sister and my mother used to work in the school for children in need of special care as teachers, so they knew each other. And so they all came to visit us. And as soon as they came in the door, I thought, he's a nice looking young fellow. So anyway, we had a nice tea, and then the next day he sent me a bunch of roses, and we went out to somewhere to Scandal Point or something, and had a nice. And then that was like early 5th or 6th of December. And then on 15th of December, we got formally engaged. And then on 15th of January, a month later, we planned our wedding. In the meantime, his training visa to come to the USA had come through, so he was in a hurry to come here. So we said, let's get married and go together. And then on the day before our wedding, Lal Bahadur Shastri passed away, so we had to cancel the wedding. We had the wedding, but we canceled the reception to Tata Institute, where I used to work on the outside lawn there, big, nice reception. And the day before the reception, Homi Baba died in a plane crash. So we had the funeral of Homi Baba on the same place, and we canceled the reception. And then we were hurrying around trying to get my visa. And 12 days later, he and I both came together to Chicago. And I was in a very pretty silk coat, Kashmiri silk coat with a satin lining and beautiful chappals. And we landed in Chicago, and I couldn't believe it was the record cold day of that year. 21st, it was like minus 21 degrees or something. Anyway, Rohinton's brother was in school here. He came to pick us up, and we stopped at Mr. Stewart, who has been the person who had given him a training visa, a truly noble gentleman. And we stopped at his house, picked up, they gave us some coats and shoes and this, then went into a rented 2-room apartment. And that's where we stayed. That's the first day we came to USA. And that's the first day. After we came, I was on a visitor visa, so I could not work, but I got onto the Chicago Tribune magazine and I looked for jobs, and I found a nice job at Cook County Hospital. And but I couldn't work, so I told them that I'll start the job, but I won't take any salary. Don't put me on your records. So I started working there. And then while I was there, it was, radiology department, and somehow I got TB, and I got very high TB. So I was in the sanitarium for 5 or 6 months. And then while I was there, I got a deportation notice because my visa expired. So it was a lot of hardships. But then my daughter, Zenobia, was born. And Rohinton went to the immigration office, and on a hardship clause, we got a stay. So that's how I ended up in USA. Dolly, do you want to?
Thank you very much. My name is Dolly Dastoor, and I was also born in Bombay, near Ketwadi. If those of you know, it's near Kamabak. And I grew up in a very traditional but not orthodox family. And there was a very closely knit joint family. My mamaji was close by. My mamas and masis were all living very close by in the next lane. So it was a very free-flowing interactions between us. And I never had any formal Parsi religious education because I went to a convent and we had catechism was for the Catholics and we had moral science classes and it was a very grounded moral science. I was very happy to have that. And I went to St. Xavier's College, which was also a Catholic institution and was again with priests. They never forced the religion on us, but we were very happy to be there. And that was how I started my career in school and college. I always wanted to be a physician, do medicine. But when I went to university and when I went to the college, the principal took the interview as to what stream I wanted to go into, arts or science. And I said science. And he says, you can't go into science. You don't have physics and chemistry because our school did not give that. I had physiology and hygiene. So I opted for, okay, I'll go into arts. So I went into arts. I did psychology. And because I wanted to be involved with the patients and with children, I joined the Social Service League of the university, of the college, and went to work at the GT hospital, which was close by to St. Xavier's College, and worked there in the children's ward in my spare time. It was very rewarding. Then I went into psychology and I did my BA and then I did my master's and then I started doing my PhD in India in the Bombay University. And then I met my husband who was visiting there. He was working in Nigeria and he had come down to visit. And we met and the story goes on from there. And he went back to Nigeria after his vacation and he came back here. And then we got married in the 1964. And we both went to Nigeria. And in Nigeria also, I always wanted to have leadership positions. I don't know why. Maybe I was aggressive or maybe I was too, I don't know, authoritarian or whatever it is, but I always had a leader. In Nigeria, in Ibadan, I was the president of the University Women's Club, the president of the International Women's Society, and president of different things. And then, and Zonta came there. Zonta was the first overseas country which came to Nigeria, and I joined Zonta. And after that, in 1973, I came to Canada because my husband was already working in Canada at that time. And so I came here and I joined Zonta again. And there also, I became the president of the club of Zonta Club of Montreal. And then I went on to the international district level, became the first non-white governor of the district, And then I went on to become the international level and was on the International Development Committee, International Nominating Committee, International Women's Committee, and did all sorts of programs for internationally for women and children. And that's how I became involved with women's organizations and doing leadership roles in all these places, not out of choice, but it was just sort of opportunity comes your way and you grab it. You have to really grab the opportunity and not just shove it away. And so how did I become involved with the Zoroastrian community over here? It was by accident. I went to one of the meetings. I was in Montreal and I went to one of the ZDQ meetings and the president over there was moving to Calgary. And he said, we don't have anybody else. You just knew, you have some experience. Why don't you become the president? So that's how I became the president, but just by chance. And that's how I grew in that. And then I went on to the FEZANA and all sorts of things. But that I'll leave it to the next person to talk about, But that is my story for how I came about.
Thank you. It's so interesting to hear how you all were born in India, but your life wasn't just from point A to point B. It's taking you to many other places across the world. But you all eventually ended up in North America. So could you all explain how your involvement in FEZANA began? What did your involvement look like, and what impact have you made in the community?
Okay. So I'll go first. So I came into the US in August of 1979, and I immediately was part of the Zapanch community, which is still my home association. And at that time also, I wouldn't say met, but I worked with Rivetna as they were forming FEZANA at that time. So my involvement started at the local level and then also at the FEZANA level. And I rose through the ranks in Zapanj also, and then became also part of FEZANA. At that time, I went to the 1993 AGM in Calgary, and I met the rest of them, Roshan, Dolly, etc. And for me, it is a great thing today because I had three role models at that time. It was Dolly Dastoor, Roshan Rivetna, and the late Kaushik Jandalwala. So it was very good for me to look at what they had been doing. And also, Dolly is my mentor too. So then it was like, Katayun, why don't you become a secretary? So I became assistant secretary under Rivetna and first FEZANA. And we grew through that. But at the same time, I was, of course, a chartered accountant from India. So I was looking for a job here. And being a woman, and the first time in the USA, when you go to an agency looking for a job, the gatekeeper is there and asks you, do you have a job in the US? No, that's why I'm looking for it. And of course, it was difficult. But when I left India, I was a junior executive with Southeast Asia Shipping Company, a Parsi firm with the Janji boys. So my interaction was always with the Parsi community. Coming here, it was a bunch. And then, of course, FEZANA. And as you asked us, what was FEZANA then and what is FEZANA now? It's a huge change. We were small, we have grown over the years, and it is amazing to see that how each individual association has enhance themselves, improve themselves. We have several congresses, etc. And I also grew in my professional life. I went to UPenn through the Hospital University of Pennsylvania, and I rose to the rank of associate director there. And then what I learned in my professional life, I also applied in my life here with Zapanch and FEZANA. So it was mutual. I grew with these associations, learned from them, and it was a very interesting life, both in FEZANA as well as professionally. After Penn, I went into Big Pharma, and I also did my certified internal auditor and a certified fraud examiner. And I traveled the world for the last 40 years as I became chief audit executive and had several interesting, what I should say, episodes regarding fraud and internal controls, etc. But the important thing is looking at some of the committees within FEZANA, what they are doing today. We are here today with the Religious Education Committee, and I'd like to thank Persis and Artemis, the two co-chairs who have done wonderful work through the past few years to make FEZANA and religious education such a key component for our community. And of course, the next thing is Zaina, and I'm going to talk about that later because youth is our future, and it is very important that we have recognized the youth and they have grown within themselves, for the community and around the world. So that is very important, how we engage ourselves. Also, we have to remember that in the USA, in FEZANA, we are neither Parsis or Iranis. We are Zarthustis. And that is always, we have to promote that whenever we are in North America, in the world. We are one. And I have seen how these two communities in certain associations have come together to promote the Zoroastrian religion and also about FEZANA all over the world. So that's very, very interesting. And I also am involved in other communities. I'm also part of the World Zoroastrian Chamber of Commerce. And I also do global chair for the women entrepreneurs. So all women who are here, please enrolled in that Women Entrepreneurs Wing of WZCC, and we'll talk about that later also. So yes, it's a very good impact for me. The community has impacted me much, and also for my Zapanch family. I have promoted women leaders in Zapanch, and I also hope that in FEZANA, I was the second president of FEZANA, woman president. My term ended in 2016. Ladies, it's 10 years now. We need somebody up there in the FEZANA executive. So step up and hope to see some of you there in the future. That's all for me. Thank you.
Katayun, you are also the Global Council of World Zoroastrians Communicating Director.
Yes,
Joint
I am.
Secretary.
Yes,
Joint
that's right.
Secretary there also.
Yes, I wear many hats, and I'm thankful. I like to, what should I say, I'm retired now, so the community is my life.
Should I go next? Well, when we came in 1967, my husband and I, there were, 66, sorry, 66. There were, we were just by ourselves. We were in Chicago. There were lot of Zoroastrians around us. We tried to get them together. There were no organizations. So in the end, Rohinton and I kind of spearheaded the association in Chicago in 1983. And then later on, around late 80s, there were many associations. There were like 16, 17 associations, Zoroastrian associations around North America. And then Rohinton started, and there were many attempts to kind of bring them together. And then at one of the, but there was a lot of fear. The associations felt that it wasn't easy. The associations felt, there was discord and there was fear that this federation would become a controlling body. And finally, at the North American Congress in 1985, Rohinton, my husband, gave a paper with Homi Homji on the value of forming a federation. And at that time, Madam Farangis Shahrukh, she stood up and she took a straw poll of the whole Congress. And everybody agreed that, yes, we want to form a federation. And Farangis gave my husband Rohinton the mandate to move the process forward. So soon, there was a lot of people coming together, few people. And I have a picture here of the first Constitution Convention. Here are all the people that came to Chicago for a Constitution Convention. And Ustas Pamgara, Farok Das, Dina McIntyre, Kayomars Dotiwala, Homi Minochar Homji Pir, Kekashri Irani. And I am also in that picture here, who came together in Chicago, and they worked for days together and formed the Constitution. And it was then sent to all the 17 associations to sign, and every single one of them signed. And it was then soon realized that FEZANA is not a controlling body. It is a truly coordinating, communicating, and connecting our North American communities spread all over the world together. And it seeks to harmonize more than unify. And it respects the autonomy of every single association. It is not a controlling body. Under succeeding presidents, Dolly was the next president, and then Katayun. And it is heartwarming to see how FEZANA has grown and developed. It is a model organization. The executive, under the leadership of our now president, Kayoma Sidhwa, he coordinates everything. The 28 associations now are the only people who vote. The associations are the voting bodies. And the committees are the working bodies. They are the ones that do all the work across the world. And of course, I have to acknowledge how Artemis and Persis have raised the bar, doing an amazing job with this religious education committee. And besides FEZANA, on the side, as a partner in partnership with FEZANA, is Zaina. And Zaina has just grown beyond expectations. So I really appreciate Zaina very much and really hope that you continue to do all the great work you're doing. So besides these bodies, we also got involved with lots of other bodies like the Parliament of Religions to bring Zoroastrianism to the different religions of the world. And then there are many other bodies that we've got involved with and the community also. But I really want to thank Zaina and FEZANA and the Religious Education Committee. Thank you.
All right, so it's now my turn.
Yes.
How did I get involved with FEZANA? Roshan, I was there at the 1985 convention constitutional meeting. So
Yes.
after that, when the FEZANA body was formed and Rivetna became the first president, I became the first secretary over there,
Yes.
And that went on. But there was no term limit in that era. So Rohinton went on and on and on and on, and then we felt that now it's time for somebody to change. And so we brought about, at least I brought about, the change of term limitations. And we said 2 years of 2 terms, of limitations, and it was passed. And so then the next president is very funny. I became the next president, and people thought I made the change because I wanted to be the president, but that was not the case. We started bringing in more structure to the organization. I developed the first 5-year strategic plan, which involved the whole community, not just the executive, but different groups in different parts of the country were brought together under different committees to form different avenues for the strategic plan, which was very successful. We succeeded in make all the things which we wanted to do. Then we brought about the next important thing, which I think we made FEZANA more involved in the whole world, was to bring the World Congress to North America. Till then, it was always, the World Congresses were always in Iran or India. In Iran or India, it went on. So when I was visiting India, I visited the Bombay Parsi Panchayat chairman, and they are the ones who allocate the congresses. So I said, why don't you bring the North America? So he says, why? I said, we're a big body. You should come and see what we do. So they just look around. I mean, there was no structure there. They just looked around to the other trustees and said, okay, why don't we go to North America? So that was it. So I came back here, and I had a meeting with the board, and we had at one of the, said, somebody had to bid. Where was we going to hold that meeting? So I think New York bid, Houston bid, and Chicago bid, I think, and Houston won. And so the World Congress took place in Houston at that time. It was very successful, and it was the only Congress which had more than 2,000 people attending. No other Congress has so many people, And we involved, I thought that if this was a World Congress, the whole world should be involved in that, not only North America. So we had people from Australia do one particular project of the scholarships or essay competition. We had Karachi do the Daughters of Manashri book. We had England do the book reviews, the library. They brought all the libraries over here, and they did a display of all the Zoroastrian books over there. Then we did all different parts of the country, different parts of the continent, or different parts of the world were involved in developing this Congress, And it was a very, very successful Congress. And I'm really proud to say that no other Congress has come up to 2,000 people, and it was an overflow. But that Congress also had a lot of headaches. I mean, being a president has lots of positive sides, but also you have to do a lot of work, because there was a big conflict between the traditional people and the not so traditional people to who should be the speakers and who should not be the speakers. And so we had a big conflict over there, and I had to negotiate between both sides and come up with some solution. So we had both sides present speakers in a panel for which we had to have police outside because people up in arms to have both the people over there. But we managed somehow or the other, and it was quite successful. It went off peacefully. Nobody got hurt. Nothing happened, But we had the Congress. Um, that was the thing. Then, yes, I also got impeached during my term. There is a clause in the Constitution that the president has a discretionary power of allocating a certain amount of money. I forget, it was like very minor, $500 or $5,000, something small like that. So I had allocated that for printing of a booklet on, it was not only traditional, but very liberal book. And so at the AGM, one of the members stood up and said that I had overstepped my bounds and that I should resign and I should be impeached. But I said I wanted to argue about that case. So I said I'm going to step out of my chair and I wanted somebody else to be my chairman so I can present myself, And so I went down and asked Mistry to be the chair of that meeting. And I argued. I said, no, this is in the Constitution, and everybody agreed with me. And so I went back to my chair. So that was, it's not always fun. It is a lot of maneuvering which we have to do, and a lot of hardships we have to, as president, and you get the, but it was still a very, very exciting adventure, Then the next thing which we did was, I always seem to be following Rohinton Rivetna or the Rivetna family, So Rohinton was the first president and I was the second president. Roshan Rivetna was the first editor and I became the second editor, And I don't know who's the third editor going to be. So anyway, so the journal also is, we changed the outlook of the journal, and Shahrukh is here on the call, and I think I have to thank him for all the work he puts into making the volume look so professional with the color and with the setup and everything. So it's now a very worldwide acknowledged document. And I think we are the only ones standing because Hamazor has folded up, Parsiana has folded up, all the others other organizations have folded up. So we are still standing and we have to keep standing. So we need the support. And my aim was, when I took over this thing, that I should promote more women to do the thing, to make younger people and younger women present and publish so that they get the chance to to expose themselves and expose their ideas. And so that has worked out quite well. And I must thank Zaina has taken a very active role in presenting and publishing and all the activities over there. And now we also have the young Iranian students from Iran who have been over here, ICN, presenting in every issue. They write something, and it's amazing from Iran how good their English is and how well they write, So that's another thing. The other thing which we brought into FEZANA was the scholarship program. When I finished my presidency, there's usually somebody gives a gift to you. I said, I don't want any gift, just give some cash and start a scholarship in FEZANA. So with that $2,000, we started 2 scholarships of $1,000 each. That was in 1970, 1990, in the late 90s. Now the scholarship program has grown, and we have over 26 endowed scholarships, several with $10,000 for graduate students, and several with $10,000 for undergraduate students. And it has grown and grown and grown. And I think I'm so happy to see young people in different professions, different disciplines, apply for it and win the scholarships, And it's very competitive. Last year we got over 120 applications, out of which we could only give 30 scholarships, which we have. So if more people could endow scholarships and more people could donate it to this, we even have an alumni scholarship, with the people who are passed out would like to donate back. And our president, Kayomars was one of the recipients of the scholarship, and he also donated back when he was a student. So all of you, whoever you are students over here, you would like to donate back to the scholarship program, please do so, What else did we do? Yeah, we also, As Katayun mentioned, we are associated with different international organizations where we try to bring our Zonta, and we try to bring in Zoroastrians, and we try to talk about us. We're not there in the associations representing the organization. We're not representing FEZANA, but we're representing our religion. So we have to talk about our religion, and we promote that. So that's about all what we did during my term. And I go back to Katayun, whatever you want to say now.
Thank you all so much for sharing. It's honestly really inspirational to hear how successful you guys have been. And I also think it takes a lot of courage to lead, especially as a woman. But moving on, I noticed all of you mentioned Zoroastrianism youth and Zaina, but what about youth that are not involved in the community right now? What do you think we need to do to involve them?
So when you mention youth in FEZANA, the first name that comes to mind is going to be Arzan Wadia. I met Arzan in 2012 at the New York North American Congress when I was elected president of FEZANA. And there he was near the stage doing some IT work. And I asked Gabe Nentin, I'm looking for somebody to help FEZANA in IT area. So Gabe introduced me to Arzan, and Gabe said, Katayun, hands off. Arzan is first for Zagni, then for FEZANA. But then we know what happened, and the rest is history. When Arzan came on board, he was the one who introduced us and all to return to roots. So when I was president, Arzan approached me and asked me to support this initiative, which he was coming up with. And that is an excellent program. I know many of you listening to us today have been on this return to roots journey. I don't know which year it is now, more than 10 times it has happened, and it has been a great success. And the best part is that the youth come back and then go back to their individual associations and talk about their experiences and help other youth to join in too. So that is very important. And what we need to do is that we have to engage the youth when they are in schools and involve them. The other initiative, which I am very proud to say and very helpful, is the United Nations NGO Committee, where the ladies go in the month of March every year and attend a session at the United Nations. And we've had young ladies in the age of 15 and up who have presented. And thanks to our friend Mistry, who has done this program and chaired it together with Beram Pastakia. And we've had an excellent panel go year after year. I participated in it 2 years ago. And believe me, it's an awesome experience to listen to other women talk about the same causes that we have. So most important is also the interfaith settings, which we get involved in. So my question today to Diana, Katy, and Artina is, how do you, young people, how do you get them to be involved in FEZANA and other youth activities? Now it's my turn to ask you a question. Go ahead.
Before you start, I just want to mention that one of the people I would put a lot of emphasis on at Zainab is Parshan Khosravi, because he was the one
I'm
who
coming to that, Dolly. I'm coming to that.
brought it to life again. Go
I
ahead,
have a
Artina.
whole list of people who I would like to recognize over the years, and I have them. I'm looking at some of them. We have Tanya Hoshi, whom Arzan has promoted. Tanya Hoshi, Jim Engineer, Parshan Khosravi, Kimya Shahzadi, Matab Dastoor, and hats off to all of you who have really committed yourself to working together for the youth cause for FEZANA. So now go ahead, ladies. Let's hear something from you, what our youth should involve themselves to promote Zoroastrianism and FEZANA in North America.
Well, I'll start with how I got involved with this Fireside project, because maybe that story might inspire other youth who aren't involved right now to maybe jump in. So I got involved with this project because Persis Driver, she's been one of my religious class teachers for a very long time. She presented this opportunity to the ZAMC youth. So at the ZAMC, she created the Zoroastrian Education and Leadership Development Academy, where our high school group works on many different leadership projects, and I've gotten to work on a few different things. But I was really excited to join this Fireside Chat project because um, it was like the first opportunity I had to get more involved with FEZANA. And I thought getting to know some of the most important female leaders of the FEZANA community would be like a great chance to just dive right in. And so hopefully I can continue being more involved with FEZANA and Zaina in the future. But to anyone who's not involved right now, I would say just reach out to any Zoroastrians you know in the community, show up to events at your local association, and just take the opportunity, even if it's just volunteering at an event, take that opportunity. And then in the future, and if there's any leadership opportunities, I'd just say take those chances and see where that will take you.
Completely agree with Katy. I think making and fueling connections is the best way to be more involved with the community. And so I'd like to share how I got involved with this project. So I've attended the last couple of World and North American Congresses, and also I've been attending the Youth Z camps. So through these events, I met Persis Auntie's daughter, Anita, and when the Fireside Chats were first being formed, she contacted me and asked me if I wanted to join this project. So I got very excited at the prospect of meeting and speaking with such influential, inspirational members of FEZANA, such as these three. So I agreed. So yeah, I think showing up to events and making connections is the best way to get involved.
Now, I want to share, but I have a little bit of a story. So, 4 years ago, I attended my very first Zoroastrian Congress ever. It was the World Zoroastrian Congress, and I was 12. So you can only imagine the attention span of a 12-year-old. So when I tell you that I attended 3 panels, that's a lot of panels for a 12-year-old, okay? So as I was attending one of those 3 panels, one of the speakers happened to be Tanya Hoshi. And if you didn't know, she's actually the director of the FEZANA Instagram, and she is wonderful. She's been doing it for so many years. But basically, in the panel, she talked about how she was the director, what she did, and back then, I had an extreme love for social media. I had a YouTube channel, I had an Instagram page. I was a 12-year-old vibing, you know? So that opportunity, she said she was in charge of the FEZANA Instagram. I was like, what better way is there to incorporate my love for social media with my love for the community? So as soon as she was done talking, I ran over to her. I was like, look, Tanya, I have this YouTube page and I have this resume. Can I please have your contact information? I got her contact information and I emailed her literally the next day. And I want you guys to know that you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. If I hadn't gone up to her, I would not be where I was today. You know, she is my mentor now. She opened so many doors for me. My Zoroastrian network is much broader than I could have ever imagined for it to be, just because I took this one opportunity. So to all the youth watching this, please follow FEZANA first of all, and second of all, look out for opportunities, because if you don't take them, there's 100% chance that you're gonna miss it. But if you do, even that 1% chance, that could open doors to so many infinite opportunities. So thank you.
Thank you, Artina, and thank you, Tanya, for being such a great mentor for Artina. And look forward to hearing more about Tanya from others too. Dolly, you are next. You want to add something to the youth? You're on mute.
Yeah, I agree with what everybody is saying, that you have to grasp the opportunity which comes your way. It just doesn't, it just falls in your lap and you have to take it. If you don't take it, you miss the chance, you know. So be involved in it, do different things, and all the things which you're doing is excellent, and especially the youth trips. You are taking the across country, across the North America, you know, go to Los Angeles, you went to you're now going to Chicago, you went across the East Coast, you went across the West Coast. So you get to involve people and you get to meet people and you get to see the different things happening in different communities, and which is very eye-opening to the youth over here who have never been outside your own state, So that's very good. And I also think being a youth and being in Zaina, or being a Zoroastrian, that doesn't mean that you have to be very religiously always do things on the religious. You have to do social work. You have to do different things in the community so that you get a feel of living, you get a feel of what's happening in the world, and not just focus only on religion. Religion is important, but you're living not in a vacuum. You're living in a community. You're living in a society where different things happen, and you have to learn about different things. And if the youth get involved, you will be then more involved in your own community. That's what I think. You have to be really involved with different things in your own community also.
Roshan?
Yeah, well, after hearing Dinah and Artemis and Katy, I think you should go out into the world and do your thing. You're great ambassadors. My main concern is how do we connect and outreach for all the disenfranchised youth in far-lying areas? We have a very involved Zaina, a group of Zaina, and it's expanding. I'm really very happy at the way you are working. But how do we, if you imagine how many there are disenfranchised, we come across youth that have never heard of Zoroastrianism, are in the area, don't come. It's a kind of worrisome. This kind of thing happens in the interfaith arena also. When we get together in interfaith circles, we all love each other, we get excited, we do things together. But then we know that all the wars in the world are because of religion. So how does the interfaith group, small group, reach out to the millions of people outside? And that is, like we think that the interfaith group should be incubators for intra-faith dialogue. We have to have dialogue intra-faith within our. So same way, I want these very few, but very dedicated Zaina people to be incubators for reaching out. You have to reach out somehow, and I don't know how to bring those disconnected people into our connected arena. So I think the older generation has kind of backed off now. We've done our job. Now we are looking for the younger generation to take us forward. Thank you.
You guys are the youth wing of FEZANA.
Yeah.
You should carry us forward.
Yeah.
We've done a job.
Japanj also, we involve our youth in community outreach projects and also make them participate in Zaina initiatives. We also have other youth groups. The WZCC has its youth group, and we are also trying to reach out and involve the Iranian Zoroastrian Youth Network through Farokh Mistry. So all the youth across the globe should interact with each other and also find mentors. It's very important that they look for mentors, not within just their own association, but also in their own area, regions, and look at them as role models, and also with mentoring, move ahead. So there is a lot of a lot of youth are there on this session. I can see all of them on Zoom, and I would like to thank all of them, including Katy, Artina, and Diana today for sharing what you have done. And we look forward to you continuing to make Zaina, as everybody says, youth is our future. And WZCC, as it celebrates its silver anniversary this year, has made that also their main goal to go ahead for the youth. So Let's move on, ladies, to the next one.
Thank you so much, all three of you. I couldn't agree more. We do definitely need to include more youth. And I hope all the youth that are watching this don't just like listen to this and disregard it. I hope they take initiative. I mean, right now, Zyna, you can, if you're 15 years or older, you can sign up and be a part of Zyna. Go to their website, okay? I'll put it in the chat. I want all the youth that aren't a part of Zyna, go join Zyna right now. Okay? Okay. But for now, I want to shift us into something a little more personal. When you look back into your life, were there any meaningful or funny memories that stand out to you today? Moments that shaped you, challenged you, or just make you laugh when you think about them?
Yeah, I would say that when I became the president and I made a point to go and visit every association. It was easier for because for work I used to travel around. So whenever I went there, I would contact the president of that place to say I'm going to meet them. So when I was in Vancouver, one young man came up to me at that time and said that, okay, why should I join Zyna, not Zyna, FEZANA? Why should I join FEZANA? What has FEZANA got to do with me? I don't want to join it, So I had to think as to what I should do now to make this young person want to join FEZANA or want to be dealing with FEZANA. So that was one of my moments which has stuck in my mind forever. And the other one was when I went to Calgary or Edmonton, I don't remember, one of the two places. When I went there, there was a whole lot of people who came, association came, and it was so gratifying to see an 80-year-old person and little baby come there at the same time, and we took a picture of that, and that is stuck in my mind that that baby should be growing up into a FEZANA member. And there are some good memories like that, which stick in your mind, and you work on that, and you feel happy with that. And I have grown with FEZANA. Not only FEZANA has grown, but I have grown with that FEZANA too. And I thank FEZANA for that, for each and every member of it. I mean, Katayun and I have been friends for so long. We share rooms together when we go to congresses. We always exchange. There's no competition between people. There's only cooperation. And that is what makes women great, because we cooperate and we get things done. That's my story.
Roshan?
Okay, so mine is funny now, but it wasn't funny when it happened. When I first came to USA, and Rohinton and I took this one-room apartment the first night we were here, and we both were allowed $8 each across the border. It was 100 rupees at the time. And so we each had our $8. Rohinton took two of his dollars and trekked all the way to his office across town for his first day of work. And I was in the house. I cleaned up. I took his ganji and cleaned up everything in the apartment. And then I was sitting there when the doorbell rang, and this lady came to the door. She was very nicely dressed, and she said, "Oh, what pretty shoes you have." And I thought, how did she know that I'm just here the first night and my neighbor has come to greet me? So I welcomed her in. I made her sit down, and I somehow made her a cup of tea. And then she took out her handbag and started talking to me. And by the time she left, she had sold me 3 years of Good Housekeeping magazine subscription for $8. That was my first brush with American salesmen. And I'll never forget that. And I didn't have any house or anything, but she sold me 3 years of Good Housekeeping magazine. So now it's a funny story, but at that time it was very scary because I didn't know how to tell my husband when he came back that my $8 has gone in this Good Housekeeping magazine. So anyway, that was my funny story.
Roshan? I don't have a funny story, but an experience I'd like to share. I went to the FEZANA AGM in Calgary, and there my friend, my friend Freni Ranji and I, we raised our hands to host the next North American Zoroastrian Congress in 1994. At that time, Zapanj was even less than 75 members. When we came back, people said we were crazy to do that, such a small association. But we did it with a group of about 20 people. I see Jimmy Barucha, who's the brother of Dolly Dastoor. He was the president then, and we had a fantastic congress with about 400 plus people, and we did it. And so since then, I've been always going to congresses, as Dolly mentioned. We are a trio. You can call us the Three Musketeers. It's Dolly Dastoor, Aban Rustamji, and myself. And we also have Maruk Motafaram, who joins us. And the four of us have a grand time in the rooms, meeting, talking, interacting, exchanging ideas. So once again, FEZANA has been a great experience and a great family for all of us. And I look forward to continuing with the youth now. Go ahead, ladies.
Thank you. I loved hearing all of your stories about friendship because I also have gained such strong friendships from not only being involved at my association, but also I went to the Z Camp in Houston and I made so many new friends. And I think that has been some of my most meaningful memories of my life so far. But I kind of want to transition into more of a serious note. I know, Katayun, you mentioned how you worked in a mostly of a male-dominated workforce. So I know that must have come with some challenges. So could you all answer what challenges have you faced, not only as a woman, but also throughout your time of working or being involved as a leader? And then how would you recommend overcoming these challenges?
To go first, Dolly, Roshan, or myself? I can go first. Okay. So, challenges. Well, the challenges were, of course, in my profession, I was an internal auditor, and nobody likes auditors, believe me, and especially a woman. But I did it. And of course, to get accepted in a man's profession where males rule. But now we have a lot of women there. And what you have to do is one of the things, or the motto is trust but verify in our professional way. And then, of course, in FEZANA also and in Zapanj too, it was always a challenge. And FEZANA we grew through. Now, if you see, the challenges in FEZANA was at that time, we had elections for even the president. So we needed the, the cooperation for all the other member associations. And if you see, today in FEZANA, we have more than 55% of presidents in FEZANA associations are women. They have all accepted the challenge, come up to the plate, and they absolutely, yes, Nawaz, I can see you. Yes, you are. My Zapanj, although Zapanj is my home association, my neighboring association is Zagni. And I'm very grateful to Khushid Navdar, Nawaz, and all the people there who have supported us. So it's very important. We always have to, they say women have glass ceilings, but we need a role model. We need mentoring. And I also now have very important is the youth. We can't just go in one direction. We have to also have the youth, look up to the youth, give them a hand, and also learn from them. But at this point, I can't forget the other side of the coin, the men who have supported me and everything in all what I have done, including the FEZANA past presidents from Rohinton Rivetna to Firdosh Mehta to Bami Patel. And on the WZCC side, I see Edal here. Thank you, Edal, for giving us the momentum and the impetus to the WZC group as to how we have advanced in the past few years, and my becoming now the vice president and also the WZCC Global Chair for Women Entrepreneurs. I like to look at challenges. I'm a very good supporter for women. and also Percy Master, who is the current chair. It's very, very important that we surround ourselves, as in the corporate world, you'd say, a good person is surrounding himself or herself with good managers. In the same way, it's very important in your community life also that you have a good group of people. And I could say that for my home association, Sapanch. And it's excellent, believe me. So it is very, very important that we learn from what we have and we move forward in life. You accept the challenges. I would say the glass ceiling has been broken in many areas, and that's how we move on.
I've not really faced any challenges in such that there was any competition. Everybody has treated us alike. But I think what we have to do as leaders is to build up trust. We have to be responsible and do what we say and take the responsibility seriously and carry out that responsibility so that people understand that you mean business, that you're not just bluffing and you have to do what you say. And I think that's very important to build trust and responsibility when we are having a leadership position. And that goes for everywhere you go. And that's my advice to all you young people or anybody who goes into leadership position to be trustworthy and responsible. Thank you.
As far as challenges go, I'm trying to find if I faced any challenge as a woman. I've really haven't felt that. I think it hasn't happened. I've just kind of barged into all these men-oriented jobs and haven't really thought about it. But can I just say a challenge that we face today? And that is, maybe it's off the agenda, but it is the issue of our declining demographics. It is something that is kind of creeping in. And even in USA, if you look under the covers, our numbers are growing. But if you look under the covers, there's a lot of gradual assimilation. And the first generation is Zoroastrian. Second generation, some of them intermarry, and then the third generation. And if you look under the covers, I've done the demographic study, and there is a gradual decline in the numbers. And we have to instill on the youth, on the next generation, we cannot lose a legacy of 4,000 years of Zoroastrianism. We just cannot lose it. We can expect changes to come, but they should come gradually. We all want our traditions and our religion to evolve. We don't want to follow the same traditions as we did 4,000 years ago, but we want it to come gradually, and we don't want a revolution. What's happening now is that our ethnicity, moving from a ethno-religious community. Our Parsi, Zoroastrian, Iranian is an ethno-religious community. Our traditions and everything is included in our religion. And now we are moving towards maybe over the next few centuries, we'll be moving towards a religious community. We can be any ethnicity. We can be Turkish or Kurdish or something. But I don't know how to relate with the new Zoroastrians. But we are definitely changing from the Parsis that I grew up with. And that was an ethno-religious community. I don't know whether it is good or bad, but we have to instill upon the next generation the legacy of Zarathustra and what it implies and how it has shaped for succeeding religions and to keep that religion in place and to work whatever it takes to. That is my challenge. So
Thank you guys so much for sharing. I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind. All of you made really good points, but we've heard so much about the impact you have made on the community. I was wondering how women can make an impact on not only the community, but also on each other.
As I
well,
mentioned,
it
there's no
takes
competition between the women on the organization. We work all seamlessly together. And help each other whenever it's needed. And that's the
well, I
important
think
thing. We have to help each other, and no competition, no one-upmanship.
I think it takes a village. And all of us are so very, very proud of all the women and Dolly and Katayun and you mentioned all the names, Katayun, and they've all served so talented. And I really don't see any distinction between men and women. I, I sincerely, they've served in leadership positions in all our associations. Like you said, 55% of leaders in our association are women in FEZANA, in ZAINA, and look at the number of women on the screen today. So I think, it takes a village and we all support each other and we really all love each other. Thank you.
So, yes, according to us, only women can best help women to succeed. And I've seen that in my own home association, Zapanch. And I see a lot of my lady friends around here, women friends from Zapanch who are on this thing. And we've had a whole long list of women presidents for Zapanch, including the current one, Nazneen Irani. We've also had women from Zapanch be on the FEZANA treasurer as Niloufar Shroff and Shirin Jahanian. But in the past 10 years, I respect one person who has really been a beacon of light for all women, and that is Zarbanu Gifford. Zarbanu has been a great supporter, promoter, sponsor for women in the always, but lately after the World Zoroastrian Congress in New York, where we started Zasha, it has really taken a lot of momentum. And we are in the process of establishing Zasha as an organization for women. And I'm going to read out to you what Zasha is. And I'd like Persis to put on the chat how you can become a participant of Zasha. What is Zasha? Zasha exists to affirm and advance the inherent dignity, equity, and inclusion of Zoroastrian women worldwide, rooted in the wisdom and strength of women across generations. Zasha's purpose is to create enduring pathways of connection, cooperation, empowerment, and advocacy that ensure Zoroastrian women are recognized, respected, and represented as vital voices in shaping their communities and the global future. So that is very important to all of us women. I would like all of you to visit that website. Currently, Zasha is just a website, and we are going to make it into a 501c3 organization soon. We have Zarbanu Gifford as the founding president, and I would like to thank Maruk Motafaram, who's going to be the president for this group. And we have several people on this webinar today who are being part of Zasha. So ladies, rise up to the plate. We have an association coming up now. We are not going to pay second fiddle to other associations. Zasha will have its own goals written up, which Persis has done a great job on doing us the strategic plan. And as I said, WZCC, the women entrepreneurs, Each of us is either a professional or an entrepreneur is there in you. So it's wonderful to see you all today here. I thank each and every one of you, the men and the women, and also the men who have supported us, and we look forward to your support in the future. So thank you, my friends, for being here with us, and I'll turn it over to the young ladies to close off the meeting.
Thank you, Katayun. We've had such an amazing conversation today. You all have brought up such amazing points about youth involvement, the importance of women, and you've shared very sweet stories. So thank you all for sharing such wonderful messages. And I would like to say a huge thank you to Dolly Dastoor, Katayun Kapadia, and Roshan Rivetna for taking the time out of their very busy schedules to work with us and collaborate on this project together. I know Diana and Artina would agree with me when I say that working on this interview with these ladies has been very inspirational. Being young women in the Zoroastrian community, it's so amazing to have role models and mentors like these three women, and we are so grateful that we have such accomplished leaders to look up to. This whole process of interviewing you all has been such a pleasure, and we've really enjoyed getting to know you all and your wonderful stories. So once again, thank you so much for doing this with us. And then secondly, I'd like to thank Persis Driver for being our mentor and for giving us the opportunity to be part of such an impactful project. And then finally, thank you all for joining us, and we hope that hearing from these ladies has also inspired you, especially for the other young Zoroastrian women who are on this call. We hope that hearing these stories has inspired you to take those leadership opportunities and to never back down from a challenge. So thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. That was a lovely conversation. Thank you again